Everybody, you've reached the Delaney Cowboys Certified Correct Playbook.
Welcome back to the Delaney Certified Correct Playbook. We had a game out in Arlington, Texas against the Seattle Seahawks yesterday, the NFC wildcard game. It was a game that the Cowboys needed to win desperately. We needed a playoff win down here in Dallas. We needed that playoff win worse than a hog needs slop. We were able to pull the game out. We were able to win it. There were a lot of things with the play calling in the first three quarters still that we have to improve on. A lot of things that disturb me, and I see a lot of concerns out for next week's game. We better have a very good week of practice if we have any hopes of winning next week's game. We don't know who our opponent's going to be yet. There's a good chance that we might be flying out to Los Angeles to play the Los Angeles Rams. When I look at all of the teams that we have to play, we could go to New Orleans also. That's a possibility. With the fan base that we have in California, I like the home field. I like it where it would seem that it would just be a neutral field out in Los Angeles. So I would rather go to Los Angeles. I believe the Rams are a little bit banged up. I believe some of their starters are hurting, which would be a more favorable place for us to play than going down in that Louisiana Superdome. Not saying that we couldn't win with the Saints, but I don't know. I just think that the Los Angeles situation with that being it would be like a neutral field with the fan base. I would bet you half of that stadium out in Los Angeles. I would bet you that half of that stadium would be full of Cowboy fans. The thing that bothered me about yesterday's game, I think we could have had more running lanes open if we would have did a lot more what you're seeing right now with the pulling guards. I think we could have did better with the halfback screen. I saw a lot of single high safety. The Seattle Seahawks went to a lot of single high safety. I saw a lot of one-on-one coverage on Cooper that at the line of scrimmage. I need Prescott to read that coverage when he sees a single high safety, and then especially if the safety's not even on Cooper's side of the field. Look, you got to go with an audible, and you got to audible to a quick slant or a 15-yard skinny post. Both of those are timing routes. You can do a 3-step drop back on that skinny post off the audible to Cooper, or you can audible to a 5-step drop skinny post to Cooper. If any team in the NFL is going to show me single high safety, the safety's not even on the side of the field. He's on the other side. He's on the opposite side of Cooper. Well, hell, I'm going to go ahead and take that audible, and I'm going to let Cooper know you run that 10-yard slant or you run that 15-yard skinny post. I'm going to release that ball a quarter. That ball's going to be to you a quarter of a way to you before you even break. And when you turn, that ball's coming in. I wanted more running lanes open for Elliott. He was able to break off just a couple of good runs. The halfback screen is something that just wasn't utilized correctly yesterday, and that hurt us because for a lot of the game, our running lanes just were not open. I want to make sure I take the time to say get well real fast to Hearns. It was a terrible leg break that I saw there. And I'm going to get to these special teams. Special teams were terrible yesterday. We have to clean that up this week. You can't have special teams play like what I saw on the field yesterday if you're going to continue to win in the playoffs. Special teams has to be something that's cleaned up. They broke a lot of big special team runs. Our kicking game could have been a little bit better. There's just some specials. The tackling was very poor. I don't think we ran our lanes the way we were supposed to stay in our lanes on kickoffs. They broke off a lot of big return yards, and that's something that's going to have to be cleaned up in the playoffs. Heath, man, you're my man, but you cannot miss that sack on that quarterback that I just saw you miss there. You can't do that, Heath. You're my man, you know. Heath is a better player than people give him credit for. I can guarantee you that. And I've been knowing it for a long time. If we would play more bump and run on the receivers, Heath would get that extra second to read which receiver, which side of the field needs help. Heath has the speed to get there. But you got to play bump and run if you want to make Heath a better safety. And like I was saying, I want a speedy recovery for Hearns. Let's all say prayers for Hearns. It looked like he broke both bones to me. I can't say for sure. I've seen a lot of leg breaks. I think you call it the tibia and the fibula. It looks like both of them broke to me. This screenplay that they just ran right there, I read that before they snapped the ball. You cannot try to do a screenplay on third down. Screens are designed to be ran on first and second down. If you understand play calling, if you understand the secret to play calling, just like the music industry, they have certain songs from the 70s, 90s they use. It's a formula. Same thing in football. Plays are designed to be called at certain times. You got to have a play caller that understands the nuances of play calling, which will make you a Super Bowl team. Man, I love this Awazie guy. He just still ain't turning his head on some of the plays. There was 2 or 3 times yesterday he didn't turn his head. There's 2 or 3 times where he thinks that the ball is not going to be in bounds and he doesn't go to make the play on the ball. There's too many times where I'm seeing Awazie, you're there, but make the play on the ball. Your coverage is fine. I need a coach that sees Awazie's coverage is fine. He just needs to turn his head and make a play on the ball. Don't assume the ball's going to go out of bounds. Don't assume anything, my friend. And you're going to be one of the best corners in the National Football League. But you need a coach that can point these things out to you. Oh, man. What else do we have here? I'm really happy that we won. I mean, we haven't won a playoff game in 4 or 5 years here. It's been real pathetic. We've only had a couple of playoff wins in about a quarter century. Real pathetic. And we got Super Bowl trophies that are 25 and 35 and 40 years old. I mean, this has to end. This is the perfect opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to go after this Super Bowl trophy, but you have to clean things up. You have to clean things up, and it has to be cleaned up immediately, okay? It has to be cleaned up immediately, especially with the special teams, especially with the offensive coordinator and Jason Garrett with the play calling. We have to understand the nuances of offensive play calling, and if we could get a grasp of that, your play calling, correct? See, there's another play, Awazie. If you would just turn your head, I believe Awazie could pick this ball off easily. The ball hit him in his arm. Why can't I get a coach to show Awazie to turn his head? I've been talking about this since the Detroit game. I've been talking about this since the Atlanta game. And we had other circus clowns mimicking my show to talk about it too. So that made more people talk about it. So, I mean, I just don't understand. And then I saw a couple times where he actually turned his head. And then I thought it was corrected. But now he comes back out here in the playoffs and he's doing it again. I need a coach right when he comes off that sideline to say, hey, Awazie, I think I talked to you about turning your head and making a play on the ball. I thought I talked to you about that last week. Why would you keep doing that? Why stunt your own growth? I mean, Awazie has a chance to be a championship corner. He has a chance to be a playoff, Pro Bowl cornerback in this league. He has all the tools. His coverage is right there. He just ain't turning his head at the last second to make the play on the ball. That play there really disappointed me on that interception. There were other play calls that I had in mind before that play call. But the bottom line is that receiver has to go up in the air, high point that ball, and not let that ball get picked off by the defender and be way more aggressive. So, Brown, you got to be way more aggressive, especially around the goal line. Okay? You have to be way more aggressive when the ball's coming in there. You go up, high point that ball, and you get real aggressive. You take that ball out of that air is what you do. We got a couple good breaks from the referees last night. We needed those breaks. I'm not sorry about a couple of bad calls that I saw about from the referee that went our way, because for 25 years, it seems like no calls ever go our way. That's a good sign in the NFL for these playoffs. If the referees are going to start making a couple calls go the Dallas Cowboys' way, something I haven't seen, we got a real shot at making a run here, okay? And, like I said, I beat up on Jason Garrett and Linehan a lot. But I tell you what, Jason Garrett, if you can bring home a Super Bowl trophy right now, I will forgive you 1,000 times over. And you won't hear me say, I'll take it real easy on you if you can get me a Super Bowl trophy. Okay, let's just say that the Delaney Certified Correct Playbook gets amnesia real fast when I see Super Bowl trophies being delivered to Jerry Jones and handed off to him at a podium. All of a sudden, I don't remember how poor your coaching is or anything like that, or your play calling. But we're still gonna fire Scott Linehan. Sorry, Scott. Even if we win the Super Bowl, it's just time for you to take off. I think the Cincinnati Bengals could use your help. If we don't win the Super Bowl, now we can talk about cleaning house. But yeah, Mr. Garrett, yeah, if you can get that Super Bowl trophy over here, oh man. Yeah, look at this. See, this is what I'm talking about. You cannot let Lockett have a free release. Look at my show that I made yesterday. I pointed that out, that Lockett is their lightning rod. I want bumping run coverage on Lockett at the line of scrimmage, and I want a safety looking at him over the top. You can't have free releases. And I'm really disappointed at our cornerback. Well, that's going to do it from the playbook. This is a good win that we picked up down here in Arlington, Texas last night. We're going to need a solid week of practice. And boy, I sure wish I could be up at that Frisco Star. There's about 5 points I could make in practice this week to ensure that we win this next playoff game. But all I can do is keep my fingers crossed and just hope that the coaches can get to the nuances of what we're talking about here at the playbook. This playoff tournament's wide open, and it can easily be won with just a couple of more adjustments and just knowing the nuances of things. All right, guys, that's it from the playbook. We're going to talk to you later. Remember, you cannot win a football game in the National Football League if your coach doesn't understand how to outcoach the other team's coach. You're gonna lose. As I always say, see you next time.
For joining in. See you next time.
I want to thank the National Football League, NFL Network, ESPN, Fox Sports, Undisputed, ABC Sports, NBC Sports, and all NFL affiliates for any video coverage that you see on the Delaney Certified Correct Playbook.
I also want to thank ESPN, First Take, and First Things First.
Thank YouTube Music for NFL Primetime Music and the NFL Network. I also want to thank CBS Sports. I also want to thank Sound FX. All these affiliates have been named for video coverage.